talk don't bother me. I want the whole wide world to know that
And welcome to Let 'Em Talk. I'm Paul DiRienzo, and we have a very informative show tonight. The video you just saw was taken a short time ago in Puerto Rico, and it shows people lining up, hundreds and hundreds of people lining up to get food in a situation where there is obviously no electricity. And to talk about that, and to talk about the aid projects here in New York and what people are doing to try and help people in Puerto Rico, even though our government is failing in every way. It's up to the people, of course, because the help must go through. So Yaraní Del Valle is here, and she is a person who is she's an actress and an activist, singer, and she's with many other people dedicating her life and her time and her efforts towards helping people in Puerto Rico. And we're here to talk about how not only what she's doing, and thank you for that, but we want to talk about what you can do. And let's get on with it. So, Yaraní, what's going on? I mean, what's the latest report from Puerto Rico?
Latest report from leaders of the community-based organizations we're in contact with is disastrous. There's a food shortage. There's the water resources are polluted and contaminated. The toll of deaths are not being reported, but there's the Center for Investigative Journalism is following the lead on that, and apparently the government is not reporting to neither the authorities or the journalists the actual count. So it's more than 16. Probably hundreds of people. We have people that have disappeared. So there's no light, there's no water. Government basically has collapsed.
Right. So what you're saying is that although President Donald J. Trump, and I use the term president lightly, is in Puerto Rico right now, and all the news, but I just was reading AP, and the news are talking about how the president said, quit belly aching Puerto Rico. There was a lot more people who died in Texas and in Louisiana. So you're saying that in fact, the government is purposely trying to obstruct us from knowing how many people.
Totally. And this is not by secondhand. We are talking with people on the field there in Puerto Rico, and people are scared. Even though people are organized, the reality is that the morgues are full of dead bodies. There are towns that the authorities haven't been able to reach out to them. They are trapped. So there are families who have had to bury their loved ones in communal graves. Mm-hmm. So it's a humanitarian crisis, and it's mind-boggling because we are the colony of the greatest empire of the world, one of the most powerful countries of the world, the United States of America. Sadly, we're a colony, and they have the power to go to faraway lands and deploy planes and help in relief, and we are just, a couple of miles away in an island, and mm-hmm. They are literally letting people die.
Well, didn't Trump make some ridiculous statement about, Puerto Rico, you're causing a problem with our budget? He said something to that effect, which seems to be literally the most ridiculous and meanest and nastiest thing.
Very nasty.
And said as a joke, which some people said lightens it. No, it makes it worse.
Yes, and it hurts. It really angers us because our relationship, the colonial relationship we had, they've literally extracted a lot of they've exploited our natural resources and extracted a lot of money from us. So they've profited from our
your country.
Our country. So it's people, even pro-statehood mm-hmm. groups are in shock of the president's words
Right.
today.
He's not even, because even presidents like even a Ronald Reagan would have probably, cozied up to somebody in Puerto Rico, to the people who want to make it a new state or keep it as a commonwealth. He's not even doing that. He's saying all of you. I mean, like he said, all the football players were SOBs. He's saying all of Puerto Rico go to hell, basically.
Yeah, but basically telling us it's our fault.
Yeah.
When the reality is that the food shortage, yes, there's Hurricane Maria was a very powerful hurricane, but they've how do you say it, dismantled the entire agriculture, local agriculture. We, as of before
to make
Maria,
a corporate
Yes.
agricultural system there.
the 80% of the goods we consume in the island are imported because the agriculture system has been dismantled.
What do they replace it with? What do they grow commercially in Puerto Rico? Some export product? Sugar cane or something like that?
No sugarcane. Mostly we import almost everything
Right.
is imported.
Well,
But
Yeah. What does the corporate agriculture produce for export? Is there an export product? One export product? Nothing.
no, we coffee maybe, but mostly they don't let us export
see.
or profit from anything. There's there are groups that are developing ecological farms. So that's a movement, a huge movement, and it was very strong. And those are the brigades and the food brigades, and those groups are very important in the reconstruction of
Okay.
the island because they are organized.
Good. So that's a good segue. Let's talk about what can we do here in New York and what are you doing? Let's start with what you are doing and then we'll go into what other folks can do to help you. I know there's a lot of things coming up, events that people can go to
Yes.
and that are designed to raise money. What exactly what is the name of your group and what are you doing?
So basically, we are a group of artists, activists that were, when Maria, devastated the island, the diaspora poured out in helping the island. But we identified a huge problem that all those collection sites were gathering things like batteries that we understand because there's no power system, but the waste management system also collapsed. So all those batteries, all those piles and piles of bottled waters, where are they going to go? So we partner up with a nonprofit organization called ISER Caribe. ISER Caribe develops systems and develops way for empowering the communities to decentralize the managing the natural resources and empowering the communities to manage the natural resources.
Sure.
We partner up with them and we made a list so that that list, collection sites, families, communities, individuals can use that list as a guide and send this type of items to the island.
Items that are ecologically friendly, that
Yes.
will not cause a huge disposal problem. People might not know, but if you send millions of batteries to run flashlights and radios, when those batteries are dead, they have to go somewhere and they contain toxic materials.
Totally.
Right?
Totally. So we named our organization because actually our fiscal sponsor is ISER Caribe, and this, it's Institute of Socio-Ecological Research. So we partner up with them. They are the gurus in the environmental gurus, and we named our organization Eco Kit, and we are basically an itemized list that serves for disaster relief for Puerto Rico. So you go to our website, ecokitpuertorico.com, and you can either, if you don't have a lot of money to donate, you can just click on the item that you think is super cool to send for your family or for an organization, and that item will either, you have the option of clicking on several items, purchasing them, and that can put your address. They can be shipped to your address, and you can send those items with a family member, or if you are traveling to Puerto Rico.
I see. So you get it sent to your house here in America, New York, or wherever. Then you can send it to whoever you want to send it to.
That's one option. The other option is our headquarters. We partner up with the Loisaida Center in the Lower East Side, and you can put the address of Loisaida Center, and then all the items will get there, and we are there.
Right. Where is that located?
It's a 710 East 9th Street in Lower East Side, and the shipment will get there, and there we have volunteers who are assembling the kits, and we've already made direct contact with community-based organizations who are doing field work. So we will send the kit to those organizations.
Now, is there an email that people can maybe, or is there a phone number or some way of communicating?
Yes, you can email us at ecokitpuertorico at gmail.com. That's eco, ECOKIT, Puerto Rico at gmail.com.
Okay, great. And then so warn people you're coming, and then come on by, right?
Yes.
All right, great. And bring your stuff, or help people pack things and send them out. And the Lower East Side, and when we had Sandy, of course, was in the forefront of helping people recover from Sandy, and so people know what to do and they know how to do it. So get in touch. We give you the information. We'll give out the number again later, so people can get in touch with people and get down there and help out. And I know there's a lot of people with skills and who can be very helpful in these situations. All right, that said, so we know the conditions are dire, right? Electricity is off, water is hard to come by, and now they've been saying that food is coming, that there is some response. What are you hearing?
No, we have our beneficiaries or organizations are still waiting for help. Most cultural organizations, for example, some cultural organizations have transformed into communal kitchens, and they are literally giving people breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So these are what they call centros de apoyo mutuo, or mutual support centers, where the community already identified, for example, a theater company that used to have activities in their community, now also is doing a social work in the community. They did it in the past, but now they are serving a practical function of giving, food to the community. So they're organizing in these centros de apoyo mutuo, or mutual support centers, and from there they are organizing, educating, because you need to understand the diaspora, it's the arms of
diaspora
the
means all the people who have left Puerto Rico, and descendants of people who left Puerto Rico who are out there in America, who still feel a connection to the home country. And we say country and talk about Puerto Rico as a nationality in the hearts of many. It is, but in fact, all Puerto Ricans are American citizens, right?
American citizens since 1917.
Since 1917, and among other things, serving the U.S. military, very high percentages, higher than any other group.
Yes.
I think they said on the Ken Burns documentary.
Actually, that was the true reason why we were given the American citizenship, is because they needed more people to go to war, to First World War. So that's
right. Then you could fight, and people join the army.
Yes, people
and
join.
And that's a way to get benefits and things like that.
But it's very important that the diaspora, or the Puerto Ricans that live outside the island, the communications are non-existent. So it's crazy, because most cell phones, if they have a signal, the call can go outside. So we serve as information center for them. People call us and say, so what have you heard in the news? Do you have internet? So what's happening?
Right. I heard a lot of people didn't even know that Trump was in the island today.
No, and some people didn't know in the island that towns were incommunicated, that there were tolls of of dead people, and we've had to give that devastating news to our families, our organizations, our friends, and suddenly they were realizing the extent of the devastation.
Sure. What are some now? You have a list of some of the items that your group actually that people can then sponsor and deliver to Puerto Rico.
Yes.
And they're interesting. What are some of the things you?
Some of the things you can purchase in EcoKit or for your family or for an organization are solar battery banks, because we don't have a power system. So with a solar battery bank, they can use the sun, charge the solar bank, and charge fans. We have fans that connect with the USB port. They can charge their phone numbers and go to areas where they can catch signal and call us. We have manually chargeable radios, very important.
The ones that you can spin, spin around like this and get the radio
very
working.
Important for the communication, because they don't have internet. Remember, the country we used to know no longer exists. This is another Puerto Rico, and we need to rewire ourselves to understand that our families and our loved ones live in a new country, and we need to, people living outside Puerto Rico need to rewire and understand the needs.
You have to rebuild the entire country as if you just arrived on a boat.
Yes, we're starting from scratch, and because we're starting.
Is there some fear, and I hate to put it this way, but is there some fear because Trump has made some noises like, why don't we use this as an opportunity just to move everybody off of Puerto Rico? And they're always talking about that they're going to have to absorb them in Florida, and that they're afraid that might make Florida Democratic.
Well, luckily we have community-based organizations that are really rebuilding the island as we speak, because the government has collapsed. So we are counting on those organizations, and we need to empower them with initiatives like for example, EcoKits and other initiatives, because we're giving them a pack to survive off the grid. So they can communicate with manually chargeable radio. They can charge their devices with solar battery
and you have the water straws.
The
those
water
are great.
straws,
everybody should have those.
Because the water is polluted. We have a lot of cows, domestic animals, the communal graves. That all of that is decomposing. So
it gets into the water.
Gets into the water.
And the next fear might be things like cholera and dysentery is a possibility, especially the temperatures are very hot.
And before the hurricane, we had an environmental crisis with the ashes in Peñuelas, the toll of cancer in the island. So now we need to think about that, please, before you send stuff to the collection sites. And we are urging the collection sites to go to EcoKit and just use the EcoKit guidelines so that your community can buy those items.
Things like shovels, like collapsible shovels,
so people can carry them and open roads and debris. There are towns that we are disconnected with them, and some roads are just non-existent. So the food brigades use the EcoKits also to go on food and help elderlies that live in towns or that are disconnected.
To get involved is the website. Give the website again.
EcoKitPuertoRico.org.
Okay.
And the website is EcoKitPuertoRico@gmail.com.
Right, and people can come down to your site on 9th Street.
Yes, well, and in the website there's you can click on volunteer, and you can come to our to Loisaida Center, who has partnered up with us and giving us the grounds in New York to work. And we have an assembly line. We take calls. Our socially conscious team has identified the organizations on ground that are working. We've been very successful in sending already kits. We've delivered them on hand. And that's important because people are very hesitant to give money to organizations and they don't know that is that money really going to the organization?
Sure.
You can trust that we are hand delivering the kits to the organization.
Okay, so there's no break in the chain of
No.
the chain of ownership. Very good.
Yes.
All right. That said, Okay, so this is how people can get involved. I know this is the thought I had. How about stuff if people have things, and I know because I've done collections before, you have somebody at a construction site who has like 20 extra rolls of tar paper from a building construction site or something like that. Is there a place that's collecting all that wild stuff that could be good?
There are many places, and we can serve as guide, and we've already served as guide because people have written to us. Listen, for example, I had a doctor in New Rochelle the other day that said, I don't have the eco kit, but I have 75 half gallons of 75 bottles of
water
have liter of IV units.
Oh, okay.
And we said that's great because one of our organizations is working with kids and women in Loíza, which is a town that has epidemics of gastritis.
Oh, really? Already?
Yeah, there's a couple of epidemics. We have a conjunctivitis epidemic.
It's the eyes.
Of the eyes. We have, so if you know organizations, medical organizations that can donate medicine for conjunctivitis. These organizations, CDMD, donated the IV units for the kids in Loíza who have diarrhea and there's a lot of dehydration. And it was when we called that organization, because we are in contact, we're serving that, they were super grateful. And that shipment went yesterday, and today she called me and she said, we have the IV units and we have the eco kit. Right. And it's very emotional to know that our help is going directly to them.
So anybody have an extra 1,000 IV units somewhere? We know where they can go, right? Off the back of a truck, whatever. This is obviously, we're not getting any help from the President of the United States. He said it straight out. Forget it. Don't look to me for any help, which is very unusual.
And I can assure you that there are more than 16 people dead because hurricane-related deaths. There are more than 16.
Right.
And
significantly more, probably.
Probably hundreds.
Hundreds. Hundreds dead. And I think Trump was saying, hundreds died in Houston, but only 16. But the fact is, he's not telling the truth yet again. Right.
But you need to understand that the colonial situation we live in, colonialism is the elevation of slavery to an entire nation. And Puerto Rico is enslaved. That's the reality.
Right. A feeling of that. Getting a feeling for that. What else should we know? That's important. I know you have a lot of materials there.
Well, there are other organizations you can donate to directly. For example, ISER Caribe. It's ISER Caribe CARIBE.org. This organization, for example, I'm sorry, I'm going to read, but I want to be very accurate.
Yes, do that.
They study the interactions and relationships between environment and humans in order to develop alternative ways of managing human and natural system. And this is very important for an island because we are, for example, our water resources can be polluted like this, and we cannot run to another
island.
island. And also,
that islands are surrounded by water?
Yeah, somebody said that the other day.
Donald Trump. I didn't know. Boy, all these years, I didn't know islands are surrounded by water. Wow.
And
something new every day.
This organization aids in the transition from centralized governmental management into community-led care and control of natural resources. And that's very important because in an island that is a colony, you have the colonized mentalities. So to depend on the government, or depend on somebody to come and aid me. And this organization is very important because it's giving the communities the power and the knowledge education to understand, oh, so if we partner up and we just give solar panels to an entire community, we can be independent and autosufficient. Yeah, you can. So this organization, ISER Caribe, is partnering up with huge companies who are interested in solar power systems and helping an island to overcome natural disasters and to be auto-sustainable.
Yaraní Del Valle, you're very interesting. How did you come to, you're an actress, you're a singer. I know there's an event coming up that you're actually performing. I dragged you away from your performance, which is in the Bronx, right?
I had rehearsal.
Rehearsal, right? Well, what's going on at where is this happening?
Yes, so I'm an artist and an activist, and I'm part of the Pregones Theater and the Puerto Rican Traveling Theater, and we are having another initiative. We are focusing on the cultural organizations in the island, because the theater companies, dance companies, visual artists, you know, how are they going to eat? How are they going to survive now that everything is destroyed? So Pregones has put up a fundraiser. It's a concert called the Harlem Hellfighters concert. Is next October 7th at 8 p.m. And the particularity of this fundraiser is that 100% of the proceeds are going to go to 500 micro grants of $500 that are going to go directly in cash to artists in Puerto Rico, so they can either continue their cultural projects or their socially conscious projects.
Where is this event now located? It's
this
going to be
is in Pregones Theater, Walton Avenue. In Pregones Theater.
In the Bronx.
That's in the Bronx, in the
boogie down
Bronx.
Right.
Our website is pregones.org, and you can go to our website. The concert is called Harlem Hellfighters on a Latin beat. And it's a concert version of a play that we did a couple of years ago.
Okay, and where should people get more information about what you're doing?
ecokitpuertorico.org.
Right, and they can email you at
ecokitpuertorico@gmail.com.
All right, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it, and good luck to you in your endeavors, and we'll see you next week. Thank you very much for joining us on Let Them Talk.